Well, BookTube world, I'm sitting here in my dining room where the best lighting is, and I'm talking to myself in my diary. I'm on page 177. I'm listening to a CD I got in the mail today. This is a group called Nightbringer. This is came out in can't remember what year it came out. Maybe I think they're this one. I don't know. I got it in the mail. It's called Ego Tominus Tuus, some Latin. It's, I didn't say what year it came out. Anyway, I got it in the mail. So I'm listening to it tonight. It has these kind of graphics, that kind of. Has that kind of thing. Yeah, I bought a Nightbringer CD last month. I really liked it. So this is an earlier one. Kind of dark. So I'm listening to that, writing in my diary. Today is, like I said, it's 7:16 at night. It is February the 25th. It's a Saturday. And I'm just sitting here writing in my diary and listening to some death metal. And I thought I would show, oh yeah, what I got at the Book Nook. As I say, on Saturdays I volunteer at the local library used bookstore. And today I picked up, oh, that's right. I picked up the new Richard Russo's novel, Everybody's Fool. Richard Russo is one of my favorite American writers. I've been reading him for many years. It says here about Richard Russo, at the very top of his game, now returns to North Bath in upstate New York. The characters who made Nobody's Fool, which was a novel in 1993. And this is these are the novels of Richard Russo. And he's referring to this novel, Nobody's Fool. This novel here, I read this, I don't know, several years ago. So this is called Nobody's Fool, and this novel takes place years after this one, the main character. You have Nobody's Fool. This came out in 1993. So this takes place right after, this one takes place in the future of this one. So it says, Richard Russo, at the very top of his game, now returns to North Bath in upstate New York. The characters who made Nobody's Fool, a quote, competent, assured novel that sweeps the reader up, according to San Francisco Chronicle. Back then, simple as family love, yet nearly as complicated. Or as the Boston Globe put it, a big, rambunctious novel with endless rifts, unstoppable human hopefulness. The irresistible Sully, who was introduced in this one, who intervening years has come by some unexpected good fortune, is staring down a VA cardiologist's estimate that he has only a year or two left. It's hard work trying to keep this news from the most important people in his life. Ruth, the married woman he carried on with for years, the ultra hapless Rub Squeers, who worries that he and Scully aren't still best friends, Sully's son and grandson, for whom he was mostly an absentee figure and now a regretful one. We also enjoy the company of Doug Raymer, the chief of police, who's obsessing primarily over the identity of the man his wife's been about to run off with before dying in a freak accident. Bass Mayer, the former academic Gus Moglahan, whose wife problems are, if anything, even more pressing. And then there's Carl Roebuck, whose lifelong run of failing upward might now come to ruin. And finally, there's Charles Charisse Bond, a light at the end of the tunnel that is Chief Raymer's office. That is Chief Raymer's office, as well as her brother Jerome, who might well be the train barreling into the station. Everybody's Fool is filled with humor, hard times, people who can't help but love, possibly because their various faults make them stringently human. This is classic Russo, a crowning achievement from one of the greatest storytellers of our time. So I was kind of pleased to find this. I wanted to buy it, but I was hoping it would come used into the book Nook, and there it was today. So I really enjoyed when I read Nobody's Fool by Richard Russo. But one of my favorite novels of Richard Russo, this is one of my all-time favorite novels, is Empire Falls by Richard Russo. And I did read I think I read this one. I read one of them just recently. Oh yeah, that old Cape Cod Magic. I read this one a couple years ago. These I haven't read. This is Richard Russo's novel, The Straight Man. This is his memoir, Elsewhere. It's about him and his mother. This is the bridge. These are Bridge of Sighs. I think I haven't read this one. Bridge of Sighs. The Risk Pool by Richard Russo. Mohawk by Richard Russo. These are short stories, The Horse Child and Other Stories. So yeah, so I was kind of pleased to find his new novel by Richard Russo, Everybody's Fool, to add to my Richard Russo collection. He's really worth reading, Richard Russo. I really enjoy him. So I picked that up at the Book Nook, and then I picked up for my Alice in Wonderland collection, Gregory Maguire, After Alice. This is like a takeoff on Alice in Wonderland. Somebody mentioned it on BookTube, and I've seen the book, but I don't know. I know his books come into the Book Nook all the time. He's really famous for his novel Wicked, Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister, Lost, Mirror, Wicked, Son of a Witch, A Lion Among Men, Out of Oz. So I don't know. I just got to add it to my Alice in Wonderland collection. That's what its takeoff. It says here, when Alice toppled down the rabbit hole 150 years ago, she found a wonderland as rife with inconsistent rules and abrasive egos as the world she left behind. But what of that world? How did 1860s Oxford react to Alice's disappearance? In this brilliant new work of fiction, Gregory Maguire turns his dazzling imagination to the questions of the underworlds, undergrounds, and underpinnings and understandings of old and new, offering an inventive spin on Carol's enduring tale. Ada, a friend of Alice's, mentioned briefly in Alice Adventures in Wonderland, is off to visit her friend, but arrives a moment too late and tumbles down the rabbit hole herself. Ada brings to Wonderland her own imperfect apprehensions of cause and effect as she embarks on an odyssey to find Alice and see her safely home from this surreal world below the world. White Rabbit, the Cheshire Cat, bloodthirsty Queen of Hearts, Troll, and Paris, as always, interrupt their mad tea party to digest a chondronium, if Eurydice can never ever be returned to the arms of Orpheus, or if Lazarus can be raised from the tomb, perhaps Alice can be returned to life. In any case, something happens. Everything that happens next is after Alice. So I don't know. I just got it. It was. I think I paid $2 for it. So I got that. And I got in the mail a book that was mentioned by Steve Donahue, and I ordered this, The House of Truth, Washington Political Salon, The Foundations of American Liberalism by Brad Snyder. I really like reading about politics in America, and it's part of my, it looked really interesting. In 1912, a group of young professionals, well-educated, decidedly ambitious, and disillusioned by the sluggish pace of change in the Taft administration, banded together and formally joined initially by their enthusiasm for former President Teddy Roosevelt Bull Moose campaign. Their headquarters was in Row House on 19th Street near Washington, D.C.'s DuPont Circle, shared by Robert G. Valentine, Wilford D. Tennyson, a young lawyer named Phoenix Frankfurter. They baptized it the House of Truth, playing off the lively dinner discussions about life's verities. As Frankfurter recalled, almost everybody who was interesting in Washington sooner or later passed through that house. And so it's kind of like, so it looked kind of interesting. I got this in the mail. I came across this writer called Mary Gordon, and I ordered used her short stories. Got that in the mail. And today I read The Proud Highway, the saga of a desperate Southern gentleman, 1955, his letters from 1955, 1967, Hunter S. Thompson, Fear and Loathing Letters, Volume 1. And then tonight I've been reading his memoir, Kingdom of Fear, Loathsome Secrets of a Star-Crossed Child in the Final Days of the American Century by Hunter S. Thompson. Also, when I was at the Book Nook, the Book Nook not only gets used DVDs, they get used books, they get children's books, but they also get CDs. And somebody donated a bunch of the Doors. You know, I told you I'm really into music, so I got the Doors, self-titled, The Doors, LA Woman, The Doors, Morrison Hotel. This is the best of the Doors. The Doors, The Waiting for the Sun, The Doors, The Soft Parade. And this is a concert that the Doors gave, I think in, I forgot what year it was. It's on the internet. You can watch it on YouTube. So yeah, I got these. I don't really like classical 60s music, but I've always liked the Doors. So I got the Doors. I also have this memoir by Ray Mandazar. He was a band. He was in the Doors. He's one of the band members. I can't remember exactly what he played. I think it was guitar. But this is Light My Fire, My Life with the Doors by Ray Zanderek. So I got that. It has, I do collect memoirs and biographies of certain musicians if I find them really cheap. But so yeah, it has, it's about the Doors. So I can add it to my Doors collection. Also, I ordered the new Mastodon. Everybody heard of Mastodon? He's one of my, they're like heavy metal rock groups. I really like Mastodon. This is their last album, was Once More Around the Sun. You have Leviathan by Mastodon, Hunter by Mastodon, Call of the Mastodon, Blood Mountain by Mastodon, and this one is Remission by Mastodon, and this is Mastodon Crack the Sky. I'm just showing you that I said I'm really into music. Sometimes I think about showing my CD collection, but it's quite huge. So, cheers. So that's what's going on here on a February the 25th. So that's a Saturday. It's 7:30. Writing in my diary, looking at my books, feeling kind of lonely. I talked to my wife this evening and told her I'm about to crack up, but gotta take some chill pills. And today is Saturday. She'll be home by next Saturday unless the world goes up into flames. So I'm hoping you're having a good weekend. Thank you for the new subscribers. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the comments. There's something I wanted to share, but I can't remember what it is. Tell me what you're reading. Tell me what you're listening to, your favorite music, what kind of bands you like. So anything, I suppose I'll close till next time. Bye.